Okay, thank you guys for joining. Thank you to Elevate for sponsoring. This week's Parashat Shemot, we begin the second book of the Torah. We finally concluded from the family, the nuclear family. And this week's Parashat, the Jewish people become from 12 tribes into a nation. In the beginning, there's a short episode in the beginning of the Parashat we can really learn a lot from. The Torah tells us, "Vatirena hamyaladot et haElohim, vatechayena et haYeladim." So where are we picking up right now? We're picking up with the story that Paro decreed for all of the boys that are born to the Jewish people. Again, the Paro has a change of attitude towards the Jews. Two opinions, whether it was a new Paro or just Paro that changed his policy. Whatever it is, the Jews at the time become slaves. They're put to work, back-breaking labor. And Paro decrees that the Jews born need to be thrown into the Nile, killed. Okay? He hires these two midwives rather. The Torah doesn't tell us their names. The Midrash tells us who they were, sheds more light on who they were. He hires these midwives to go birth the Jewish women, and if it's a boy, kill him, toss him to the Nile, dead. And the Torah immediately after that tells us something very powerful, that what? These midwives feared God, velo asu, they didn't listen to Paro, kashadiber Paro, vatechayena et haYeladim, and they enabled for these children to survive. They allowed the children to live. Okay? The immediate and the big question is, what's going on right now? How on earth could these midwives have the audacity, have the strength to not listen to the Melech, to the king, to Paro? If Paro finds out that they're not killing them, but even more than that, not only did they not kill them, the Midrash tells us that these midwives would not just let them live, but they would feed them. What's the language of the Midrash? Mesapkot latinokot mazon u'mayim. They would give them food and water. They wouldn't just not kill them actively. They wouldn't just passively let them survive, but they would go out of the way to make sure they lived. How did they have the audacity to go against Paro? Again, in a monarchy, in a dictatorship, if you don't listen to the king, off with your head. So what motivated these two women, who the Midrash tells us were Miriam and Yocheved? The Torah says Shifra and Pu'ah. I misspoke. I said it doesn't say their names. It says Shifra and Pu'ah. And the Midrash tells us those two midwives are Miriam and Yocheved. But what motivated them? How did they have the audacity to step up to the Paro, not listening to him, not do what he asked, and double down, not only not kill the kids, but give them food, give them water, help them survive childbirth? How were they not scared? So the simple answer is in this pasuk. We already read it. The Torah tells us how. What was the code? What was the secret? Vatirena hamyaladot et haElohim. The midwives feared God. It's not for naught. The Torah tells us this is why they let the children live. Because they feared Hashem, then they had no fear of Paro. They weren't scared. Could Paro kill them? He could kill them. But did they care? No. Why not? Because when we have Yirat Hashem, when we're always thinking and always scared of Hashem, nothing else matters in theory, but we can't do anything against His will, even when it puts our lives at danger. So I said, we'll maybe speak a little bit about this idea of Yirat Shamayim, the fear of Hashem, and it's something that is applicable to all people, all walks of life, all religious levels, in every capacity at any time in life. The Orchot Tzadikim explains this concept of fear of God in a very powerful and beautiful analogy. He says, Yirat Shamayim hi ha-mesila v'ha-mafteach lish'ar hamidot v'ha-kli shemachzik et kol hamidot. Fear of God is the path and is the key is the master key for all other character traits, all other midot. And when you master that, then you have the master key to opening up all other characteristics and character traits. He gives an analogy, Mashal lechut shemashchilim oto betoch margaliot. This is good for the jewelers. You have pearls, okay? All the pearl dealers in their office have a stringer, okay? What's the job of the stringer? She puts the string through the pearls, ties them on both ends to make sure the pearls don't fall out. If I take a knife, a scissor, and I snip the strand, the string anywhere, all the pearls will come falling out. Yeah? Basic physics. Okay? The Orchot Tzadikim says the same applies to Yirat Shamayim. You can be someone who's charitable, someone who's kind, someone who's sweet, someone who's sensitive, someone who prays, someone who does mitzvot. But if you lack the secret code of Yirat Shamayim, if you lack this element of fear of Hashem, it's as if you cut the pearl necklace or bracelet and allow for all of these beautiful pearls to fall on the floor. The fear of Hashem is the string that holds all other midot and character traits up, says the Orchot Tzadikim. When we are thinking about God, when Hashem is on our mind, the Messiah Yeshua writes that when we're meticulous and careful to make sure that every dollar we make has the stamp of OU on it, a stamp of I'm a Jewish person and I did it in an honest and integral way. That's how you know you're a big tzaddik. And Yirat Shamayim is the string that holds all these pearls together. There's another famous Gemara. The Gemara says, Amar Rava. Rava says, B'sh'a shemachnisim adam ladin. Sholim oto, when someone, after 120, God willing, it should be 120. When Hashem, someone goes upstairs before God, you're asked 6 questions. We've mentioned this Gemara all the time, Gemara Masechet Shabbat. The first question is, Nasata v'natata be'emunah. Did you conduct business with integrity, honestly, truthfully? Did you lie? Did you steal? Or were you honest? That's the first question. But the Gemara says something fascinating. And even if he checks off all 6 questions, excellent, A+, he business with honesty. But the Gemara says something fascinating. Im yirat shamayim hi yotzaro mutav, ve'im lav lo shaveh klum. On top of all of these things, if fear of Hashem is his in his treasure, in his storage house, then he's set for life. And if not, he could be honest, he can be kind, he can give charity, he can desire the redemption. But if he lacks this element of fear of God, all of the other mitzvot don't mean much. It's a very powerful and very strong idea, but the question is why? How come I can do mitzvot, I can do charity, I can pray, I can do chesed, but I lack this element of fear of God? Why does the Gemara say that all of the mitzvot were for naught? So the Gemara, they answer, you still have a treasure full of good things. I have a pearl, again, back to the analogy, I have a necklace of pearls. I cut them, they all fall down. I still have 14 pearls in my office, on my table. So why does the string matter so much? Why don't we care? So the answer is for this exact reason, because without Yirat Shamayim, shelelo Yirat Shamayim en ma sheyikshor et kol ha-mitzvot v'maasim tovim shelo yovedu. Without this element of Yirat Shamayim, there's nothing that'll hold on to all of these pearls, all of these gold coins, all of these mitzvot to ensure that they don't disappear. Lachem, therefore, kol ma she'adam amal ve'yaga nofel, all of our hard work and all of our toil and all of our doing of the mitzvot falls and it disappears. Ve'olech leibud, gets destroyed if we're lacking this element of Yirat Shamayim. However, aval kishesh Yirat Shamayim yeshakol, but when we have fear of Hashem, our pearls can be smaller. They can be less valuable. We can give less tzedakah, do less tefillah, learn a little bit less Torah, but the Yirat Shamayim, that constant fear and thinking about Hashem, keeps them all together, and at least you have something. You have the necklace you continue to go to the next world with this idea. And I'll say this a last story from the Chavetz Chaim, a very powerful story. The Chavetz Chaim writes, he was once, again, they didn't have cars back then, he was on an agala, he was on a carriage, okay, traveling from one place to another. When he's minding his own business, Chavetz Chaim was a massive Talmid Chacham, big rabbi. He was probably learning or teaching or doing something on that ride, studying Torah, when all of a sudden he feels the carriage stopped. What's going on? Why is the carriage, why aren't we moving? Okay, continues learning. After a few minutes, he looks up and says, we haven't moved in 5-6 minutes. He looks in the front and says, hey, the carriage driver, the horse driver is gone. Where is he? He looks outside of the carriage, looks left, doesn't see, looks right, doesn't see, steps up, looks over and sees, the guy riding the carriage, stopped the horses, jumped off, went to the neighboring orchard, looking left and right, and he starts grabbing apples, grabbing different fruits off the tree, putting it in a bag, look left and right. The Chavetz Chaim, the story says, the Chavetz Chaim starts to yell, someone's watching! The guy looks back, sees the Chavetz Chaim, drops it, and runs back onto the carriage, gets up and he books it. Half a mile down the road, the guy looks back at the Chavetz Chaim, thank you so much for looking out for me. Who was watching though? Where do you see someone? And Chavetz Chaim goes, I saw you kept looking left, you kept looking right, again left, again right, you took another apple, but you forgot to look up. Hashem is up, He's watching. Who gives you the right to steal? Who gives you the right to take these things against the owner's permission? And the guy understood that Hashem is actually watching, and he's right. He forgot this element of Yirat Shamayim, of fear of God, that He's watching. There are many Gemaras, many more ideas about the importance of Yirat Shamayim. Another Gemara, Masechet Yomah. Oy lahem leotam she'oskim b'Torah v'she'ein lahem Yirat Shamayim. Woe to those who study Torah. Again, the best, most important thing that Mishnah tells us, Talmud Torah Ke'enei Kolam. You learn Torah, it corresponds to all the mitzvot. The Gaon Vilna writes, when you learn Torah, it's as if we're achieving all 613 mitzvot. Right now, we're studying Torah together, we just checked off all 613 mitzvot. The beauty and the power of the Torah. But the Gemara says, woe is to someone that learns Torah, but lacks Yirat Shamayim, doesn't have this element of fear of Hashem. Machriz Rabbi Yanai says, Chaval al mi she'en lo chatzer ve'oseh lo shar. It's as if someone, he doesn't have a yard, but he's building a gate. He doesn't have a property, but he's building a fence. What are you building a fence for? You're building a fence for the park? He doesn't have a house, but he's building a door. You're forgetting that we have to prioritize and understand the significance and the importance of this Yirat Shamayim. And they continue at length, they speak about it. But I think it's just important that we take ourselves and remind ourselves of this idea and learn from the midwives. Learn from Shifra and Puar, as Midrash says, Miriam and Yocheved. And internalize this element in our lives of think that Hashem is watching everything. There's going to come a day, after 120, God willing, that our entire lives from A to Z will be shown on a video. We did this right, did this wrong. We'll be questioned, how come we did this wrong, how come we did this right? But the idea is that we don't have to wait till then. We start with something small now. We've said this in the past, we'll say it again. The point is, the baby steps in Yirat Shamayim are small, constant reminders. And it's everyone on their individual pursuit. Whether it's when I wear my tefillin or I attend minyan. Whether it's I make a bracha once a day, I should say every time you eat something, but at the minimum, you drink a bottle of water, make one bracha of shakol every day. Whatever it is, consciously, or after you use the restroom, bracha asher yatzar. Small, simple halachot that some people might be more lax on, as opposed to others. But whatever it is, our job is we need to connect ourselves. We need to make ourselves constant reminders day in and day out. There's a reason why in the Ashkenazi community, when they wear their tzitzit, they wear the strings out. The Zohar and the Sfaradim are minhag is to tuck it in. I wear my tzitzit katan, I tuck it in. I never tuck it out. But by the Ashkenazim, they wear it out all day. And the question is why? What's the point of it? Yes?
So they don't do Chilul Hashem?
Not only so do Chilul Hashem. I mean, the answer yes, but your version of Chilul Hashem is to do something wrong in the eyes of others. My version of Chilul Hashem is even in the eyes of yourself. When we do something inappropriate, even if no one sees it, it's still considered Chilul Hashem, says the Gemara, says the Rambam. When I do something inappropriate, I do an Avera, even no one knows, no one saw, it's me and myself and I did something not appropriate that a Jew should do. That's a Chilul Hashem. I desecrated the name of God. We have a piece of Hashem in us. Our neshama is a piece of God, whatever that means, not for today's discussion. When I do something inappropriate, I'm desanctifying, I'm mechalel, I'm desecrating the name of God. So yeah, exactly that. But the idea is very superficial, very basic. The Torah says, Uritem oto. And we say it in Shema, Uzchartem et kol mitzvot Adonai v'asistem otam. You shall see the strings, and you shall do all of the mitzvot that God commanded you. Uritem oto, uzchartem, and you shall remember. Et kol mitzvot Adonai v'asistem otam. Remember all the mitzvot of God, and you shall achieve them and do them and keep them. So when we say Uritem oto, it doesn't mean literally see them. It means when things are seen, like the Rambam during the day. But their minhag has a lot of virtue to it. They look down and it's a constant reminder of, the mitzvot. Remind myself that Hashem commanded me in the mitzvot. Be smart, don't do something inappropriate, do something wrong. Or the same thing of why we wear kippahs nowadays. How come kippot became popular? Why are kippot more than ever in our generation? Very simple to understand there's someone above you. At all times, in every situation, whether it's in the office, whether it's on the road, whether it's at home, whether it's in Kanisa, wherever we are, it's a constant reminder that Hashem is on top of us. And all of these things are underlying mechanisms beyond the mere fact that we have to keep it because halakha dictates us to, but they're mechanisms for us to connect our hearts to Hashem, for us to reconnect or constantly connect, keep the charge, keep our focus, keep our mindset. There are a lot of distractions in our lives. That's part of this world. The Gemara says, Olam hafuch reiti, I've seen a backwards world. The amazing people are belittled, are nothing, and the garbage people are brought on the pedestal. The world is confusing, the world doesn't make sense. The clutter, the headaches, the nerves and the pressure of this world is why we're in this world. The Messiah Hashem writes in the beginning, Ke'iver ba'afela. Someone who doesn't know what's going on, doesn't work on his midot, doesn't connect to the Torah and the mitzvot, it's like he's walking like a blind person into absolute darkness. Why is it so bad? A blind person can't see, but at least the people around him can help him, can warn him. But someone without the Torah, without the mitzvot, is a blind person, absolute darkness. This world is absolute darkness. It's confusing, we don't know. But our job is constant reminders, connections to Hashem throughout our day. And that's one of the many lessons from this sixth parasha of fear of Hashem, is how the midwives were successful in not listening to Paro, even when that put their lives on the line. They were willing to risk their lives to do it because of the element of fear of Hashem. And to wrap up, this is exactly our community history. We said it all the time. We'll repeat it again now. More than 180 years ago, we had the Al-Adadi incident. It was either convert or die. 20, 30, according to some opinions, people were killed. And the others converted. They became Maramos. On the outside, they acted as Muslims, but on the inside, they still kept the Torah, they kept the mitzvot. They baked matzah on the inside. They bought chametz on Pesach and they fed it to their dogs so their neighbors wouldn't think that they're still Jews. They were willing to sacrifice their lives for the Torah, for the mitzvot. Where? How? How did our ancestors do that? Because of Yirat Shamayim. Because of this mere and basic element of fear of Hashem. Fear of God, understanding and remembering that Hashem controls and sees everything. That's one pasuk, one lesson from this week's parasha that's applicable to all people, all religious levels, all walks of faith, every type of Jew. And it's something that every year we come across it. We need to reinstill in our lives another mechanism, another reminder, another way to serve Hashem properly, remember Hashem, have Yirat Shamayim, have fear of God, understand that everything I do is He's watching everything, He's documenting everything, and after 120, be proud of what we've lived, the lives that we've accomplished. Chazak Baruch. Thank you very much.